Raring to go this morning, as you would understand, is commentator Sam Armstrong, who joins us in the studio regularly on a Monday. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's not possible to convey the level of anger I feel towards our Prime Minister. I hold no candle for this man anyway. I think the man is an empty vessel, devoid of all morality, competence and vision and philosophy anyway, totally evidenced by his last year or so in office. There was a pledge in the Labour manifesto. They would recognise a Palestinian state, when at the right time. We knew it was going to come. We knew this was all being done ahead of the General Assembly meeting of the UN in New York happening this week. The actual announcement, though, it still kind of hits you in the stomach. We are talking about recognising a Palestinian state that has no current agreed borders, no government other than Fatah running the Palestinian Authority and Hamas running Gaza, both of whom are pledged effectively to the destruction of the neighbouring state of Israel. We've got Hamas claiming victory, claiming its reward for October the 7th. A state that is currently already on the Foreign Office website. Is literally, they're recognising it as a Palestinian state. It's already happened. It's not going to happen. It's already happened. But a state that has no real meaning in any international law, being recognised by a government that claims they're obsessed with international law, basically completely in defiance of all morality, all common sense, our own national self-interest, and certainly the national self-interest of what should be our greatest ally in the Middle East, the only democratic state of Israel.
If you're the kind of person that is concerned about migration and wants something done, Keir Starmer doesn't like you and has got nothing to offer you. If you're the kind of person that wants to fly the St George's flag, Keir Starmer sneers at you and warns you not to. If your name is Mahmoud Mardour and you are a senior Hamas figure, an actual terrorist, Keir Starmer has a gift to offer you. The priorities of this man are set in the face of the country that he leads. This is a Prime Minister who is working against our interests in order to save his own skin. I want to bring up one thing, because the Prime Minister turns around and he says, well, this is about international law, this is about recognising countries, it is a country, it's got nothing to do with rewarding Hamas. Consider this for a moment. 6,000 miles to the east, there is an island of 70, 80 million people that is a full-grown democracy, one of our best allies, huge supporters, trades with us enormously, the global hub of semiconductor manufacturing. It's called Taiwan. The British government does not recognise Taiwan. Doesn't, despite the fact it's got a functioning government, well-defined borders, democratic, shares our values, shares everything. Everything we want in a country, we don't recognise it. Why? Because we're too scared of offending the Chinese. These decisions, in the end, come down to priorities. And Keir Starmer has never met a despot, a dictator, a criminal that he doesn't fancy sucking up to. And this just follows in a litany, a line in his career that starts with representing terrorists in the High Court and it finishes with bolstering their interests when he enters Downing Street. This is a man whose principles make him, in my opinion, an enemy of the country that he leads. Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more. It is absolutely, it's soul-destroying. And it's the fact that these people, again, think that they are. I mean, I genuinely think they kid themselves that they are doing this for the moral good, because what's happening in Gaza is so horrific and so awful. When most of what we're seeing from Gaza is just Hamas propaganda. Yes, innocent people are dying, children are dying. It's horrific. That happens in every war. It happened when we took on the Nazis. It happened when we took on ISIS, when we took on, the Taliban forces and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. This is what happens in war. It's happening in all the wars around the world. And yet, the only real focus of the United Nations, the British left and everywhere is, and American left and France and everywhere else, is this obsession with what is going on in Gaza. They uniquely care about those children. When those children are being put in harm's way, who by Israel? No, they didn't launch the October 7th attack. Oh, and it all started back in 1948. No, sorry. Abject nonsense. The reason why there is a war in Gaza right now, and there are IDF forces in Gaza City right now, is because of the Hamas attack on October the 7th, almost 2 years ago. Full stop, end of. That is all there is to know about this. And the extraordinary thing is that Hamas has a deliberate policy of putting children and civilians into harm's way deliberately so that they will die. They want their civilians, their children, to die as part of their war aims. And guess what? They've just been rewarded for it. And this is the really terrifying thing, is people think this is just about over there. Our government, the French today, the Australians, Canadians yesterday as well, who all in recognising a Palestinian state, have sent a message out loud and clear to every single organisation, terror group, every organisation wanting to overthrow their state. Every single one has been sent a message. Commit a massacre. Basically, force a war to be started upon you by people who have to defend their own homeland. At that point, put as many civilians as you can into harm's way. Take hostages. Refuse to hand them all back unless, with a gun to your head. And then we will give you what you want. Because the West is weak and lily-livered and doesn't know what it stands for anymore, and doesn't understand that Israel is the bastion, the only bastion in the Middle East. Sod Qatar and United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia and all those other countries. No, I'm sorry. Israel is the only democratic state. It's the only nation that shares our values, the Western values, in the Middle East, and it's the one that we should be siding with above all at all times. And the condemnation of Israel on a daily basis, when so little talk about Yemen and Sudan and every other war ongoing in this world, we know what it's about. Let's not pussyfoot around that. We know what it's about. This is part of a whole stirring up from bots, whether it's Russia or it's China, whether it's Iran, elsewhere, on the left, of really basic medieval anti-Semitism, and which is just an attack on a state which happens to be a Jewish state. I'm sorry, but I'm more and more convinced of this every day, that is the ultimate reason behind this. Because fundamentally, Israel is doing not only nothing different from what any other nation state would do in the face of the threat they face, they have done so much more in terms of trying to protect human life and civilian life than any other Western nation would do in the same circumstances. And I am utterly befuddled on a daily basis how people cannot see the clear black, white, good, evil debate here and know which side to be on.
Look, as you say, you can tell where people are coming from by the priorities that they have. Yeah. Let's start for a minute by just looking at Muslim victims of violence around the world. You have over 1 million Chinese Uyghur Muslims stuck in concentration camps.
No one cares.
You have enormous violence towards the Rohingya Muslims in Burma.
Yep, no one cares about them, apparently.
Muslims massacred every day right across Africa, in which you hear not a whiff.
Biggest victims of ISIS and Al-Qaeda were Muslims.
You don't hear a thing. There is one place you hear about, and it is Israel. And let's just be really clear. The left have a problem. They've always had a problem with Jews. The principal reason is that Jews have always been a minority community. They've always been an immigrant community. And despite that, despite the supposed racism that's always existed in the West, the Jewish community, wherever they have settled, have been incredibly successful. In business, in governments, in media, in every single sphere, they've been successful. And they've been successful for a really clear reason, because the Jewish people, wherever they have gone, have carried a religion with them which has values, you might call them Judeo-Christian values, they're shared values, in which hard work, personal responsibility, family are all taken seriously. All the things that conservatives for years have been telling you will make wherever you are, whatever you're doing in life, more likely to be successful. And Jews have, wherever they have gone on the earth, put the lie to the leftist claim that racism is running through our communities, left, right and centre. And as a result, they have committed a cardinal sin, and the left have never forgiven them for doing that. And as a result, no matter who they're up against, no matter how virtuous their cause, the left will fight for their opponents. That's the truth of it.
It's as simple as that. And in terms of the reasons for Keir Starmer to do this, or he thinks he's a good person, it's the latest cause on social media. But the main thing is, this is about appeasing his left-wing Labour backbenchers, but also huge pressure on the left. We've got the Gaza MPs. The threat to Labour on the left is huge from Hezbollah. Whatever Jeremy Corbyn's next new party iteration is going to be, with or without various various members, who Sultana and others. But at the end of the day, he knows you've got a massive big block of Muslim voters who care absolutely passionately about this issue and have been propagandized into thinking a certain way on this issue. This could decide a huge number of seats, especially when you've got that threat from another left-wing party, but also the threat from reform. And this is about appeasing a particular sectarian vote in this country. I'm sure that'll end up working out well, Sam.
Juliet, this is controversial to say, but let's take a step back. Firstly, politics is about collecting different groups of people that hold similar views together, building a coalition. If you do that, you win. The left has always the Labour Party has always needed the progressive left, and it's always needed the Muslim vote in this country. It has done for 30 years. Now, it's controversial to say this, but poll after poll of both the progressive left and the Muslim community in this country reveals that both of those groups, unfortunately, hold unacceptably high anti-Semitic views. You ask, I'm afraid to say it, there have been a number of polls to this effect. The British Muslim community, do Jews have too much power in the media? Do Jews control finance, etc.? And an unacceptably high number will say, yes, they do.
These are basic anti-Semitic tropes. But this is a view also of many young people under 30s, because they're sitting there on social media and they're just believing all this stuff. It is genuinely terrifying. Look, I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 0344 499 1000. Understandably, a lot of calls already on the board. Motivations for Keir Starmer doing this. How will this play out? What should we do? Don't forget, I'm going to be talking to the brother of the hostage, Evitar David, who's actually being held captive right now, one of the 20 believed still to be alive in a Hamas tunnel in Gaza. He was the man who was forced to dig his own grave for a propaganda video. These are the animals we're dealing with, by the way. Small point, worth making. We've got lots more top guests coming on the show as well, but I want to also talk about what's going on at home. Nigel Farage, another big announcement every Monday. You've been joking for many weeks about how, the Monday morning announcement from Keir Starmer. Well, we had it on Sunday yesterday. Again, Matt, it's gonna go horribly wrong for him on this. It really will. But Nigel Farage often coming in with his big announcement. He's pledging to end indefinite leave to remain for many millions of people who've arrived in this country, including 3.8 million who came as part of the Boriswave. Because when we count immigrants coming in, often we're not counting all the dependents, not counting the children. And I think there were 1.2 million arrivals, not the net arrivals, but the number of arrivals in just 1 year under the Boriswave. They're just handing out visas like confetti. So people who came here legally to work, but nevertheless people who within 5 years would be given indefinite leave to remain. Then they can claim benefits, council housing, everything, and then become a drain on society. And of course, by saying, you'd have to reapply and saying we're going to have a higher threshold, I think it's about 35 grand a year earnings, you're not a net contributor on 35 grand, unfortunately. You've got to be on about 45 plus to be a net contributor. Certainly if your wife isn't working, which is usually the situation in not these families, and you've got 3 kids, you are definitely a drain on the economic, situation for the UK. And even if you're doing a fantastic job and a very important job, but we've got 6 million unemployed working age people in this country. I'm pretty sure we can get those people back to work when they don't have the option of benefits. But also talking about expelling hundreds of thousands of migrants, non-Brits, if you come here, you're not able to claim benefits, you're not able to claim a housing, council house and the like. I mean, I don't know why anyone on the left would ever complain about this, because they've been telling us for about 3 decades that all these people coming from abroad are a net benefit to us and that they're all earning good money and contributing. So why on earth would it be a problem if we say, well, you can't claim any benefits or council housing because well, they wouldn't be anyway, would they? Of course, that will betray the lie of that. But we are talking about, not just deporting illegal migrants, people who've come on lorries or on the boats or have overstayed visas often for many years. We're talking about people who come here legally on a promise of being able, if you do the right thing, you work hard, blah, 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 you can end up staying here. That may run into some difficulties, may it not?
Well, I disagree, actually. I think, these people came here. They got paid vastly more than what they were earning in their home country. That's why they came here. And we are under no obligation to say to people, well, just because when you came here the rules were this, that the rules are going to stay that indefinitely. I want, frankly, every one of these people that is not a net contributor to our country to go home. And there's a very simple reason for that, because I think that people who come into our country, they carry just beyond the economic circumstances all sorts of risks, actually. I think when you admit millions of people, even if they were all economic contributors, if the cultural change that resulted in that level of migration was there, I still think that is harmful and upsetting and distressing for many people who are here already. So can we just at least say that the bar, the judge, the point at which we set the test is, are you contributing just at least economically? Yeah. And that is a entirely reasonable point of view.
You're speaking the language, so you can't contribute. You can't contribute to local school. You can't if you're not speaking English and you're part of the. If you're so desperate to come to this country, you'd probably bother to learn. If I was going to go and live in another country, I would learn the language. I don't think. I mean, and I feel the same way about people who go to live in Spain and don't bother learning a single word, other than adios or whatever.
But ultimately, we have the right, as a country, to set the bar of who comes in,
it's up to us.
Who gets to stay here, and who gets to be normalised as a British national.
We can take our 6 million unemployed people and all these people claiming they're sick on a lovely autumnal Monday morning, and just say, well, I'm so sorry, these benefits are no longer available to you, but look at all these jobs you can have. I'm saying we could do. It's going to be a revolution. If this happens, it's going to be a revolution, and I'm here for it.